Welcome back to the Building Better podcast, brought to you by the HBA of Northwest Michigan. I'm your host, Lauren Tucker, the executive officer, and I'm so excited to be back in the studio for our special Parade of Homes edition podcast series. And joining me today is Colin Bushong from CMB Construction. And if you watched last year's Parade episodes, Colin, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here today.
It's great to have you back. So the Parade of Homes is taking place in June, Father's Day weekend, June 18th through the 21st. And it is a community favorite event. And it is a sure sign of spring and summer coming when the parade signs start coming out.
Absolutely.
And for us at the HBA, this has been a long time coming because, of course, it doesn't happen overnight and homes are not built overnight. So we're excited to see the finished project and to tell you folks all about it. But first, let's get to know Colin a little bit. Colin, how did you get started in the building industry?
Well, my dad was a general contractor as well, so second generation builder. You know, I kind of grew up working on a job site, started pretty young. You know, yeah. I was definitely 3 or 4 starting to push a broom around, and then throughout my teens.
3 or 4?
Probably.
Amazing.
Yeah, my mom just sent me a picture the other day of my dad and I working out in front of one of our houses with a skid steer, and I was holding the shovel there. So
that's
I was
amazing.
Probably a little toddler then.
I'm sure some of your clients and our listeners would love to know how your parents got you into doing manual labor.
Well, I'm sure I wasn't all that committed at that point, but
sure.
You know, goes with the territory.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was 6, we remodeled our house, and my dad worked right alongside of his buddy who was a builder.
Yeah.
And I so desperately wanted to participate. And he let me, I thought I was painting. So I thought it was such a big deal. He let me paint. There's pictures of it. It was the primer.
Well, we've started our kids like that too. We've had some projects where the kids have, you know, been on site helping to roll paint and just help in whatever fashion possible.
Yeah. Well, and it should be said that only children of that age who are family members of the company can actually be on the job site.
Right.
And then, of course, there's only certain things they can do. But pushing
for sure.
a broom and running a paintbrush is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
After I did that for a while, you know, it was always my summer job. You know, it was always around, so it was kind of always my.
So when did it become a career for you?
Well, you know, once I graduated high school, you know, I did go away to college. I didn't really have a big focus on the direction I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. So I kind of ended up coming back, taking a little bit of time, working for my dad, took a lot more active role in the company as more than just a carpenter. You know, I really kind of helped run the company. So
yeah, see the nuts and bolts, so to speak.
Learned a little bit more than just the work of carpentry, but started learning about the business of building.
Awesome.
And so I worked with him for about 10 years doing that. And then in 2009, we started CMB Construction. And the world was really changing at that point, and just decided to start over.
That is
lean.
a very interesting time to enter the field.
Well, it was need.
Yeah.
It was definitely need.
Yep.
But it was a really good decision. You know, we started small. We did a lot of additions and remodels and stuff like that. But as we've grown, we focus mostly on new homes, large-scale renovations. You know, our big mantra that we really try to make our clients experience is a smooth building process. Mm-hmm. You know, we really want to listen, learn what their dream is, help them implement that dream with good advice. You know, and make it a smooth process, something that they look forward to recommending their friends to join and do as well.
Yeah. Well, having been on some of your sites and then also had the pleasure of meeting many of your customers through the Parade of Homes, they're like family to you.
Oh, yeah.
By
absolutely.
the end.
We spend, you know, a couple of years cultivating a relationship. And, you know, I think that's a big part of choosing a builder too, is just choosing somebody that you're compatible with. This is somebody that you're going to be working with for the better part of a year or two. You know, you're going to need to collaborate, work together. There's going to be some issues. You need to be able to troubleshoot those issues together. By the end of that, you have a pretty good compatibility for the most part.
Yeah, it takes a lot of trust.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's just a little bit about what you can expect if you're working with Colin. I know that he works very hard on that. You work really hard on that relationship and making sure before you take on a project that it's a good fit.
Well, and I just think the client experience is of paramount importance, and it starts with that natural chemistry that must exist.
I'm pretty sure your homeowners from last year's parade home would adopt you.
It's a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah. Joining us in the studio now is another one of our amazing sponsors from Aspire Realtor Group, Alan Jeffries. Alan, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Thanks. So the HBA and Aspire have had a long relationship. It goes hand in hand, housing and selling houses.
I agree.
Yeah. You're newer to the area, and so thankful that you're here. You took over for Kim Pontius, who had been there a long time. Big shoes to fill, but luckily you've got big feet.
Yeah. It's been good. Yes, Kim was there, I think, 17 years, so I took over for him, and we've made quite a few changes, but things are great.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, definitely a vibrant association, and I love that we are so closely connected, working on the different areas where we can impact housing. That's like the hottest topic these days. So tell me a little bit more about what's going on in real estate.
So right now, current market is pretty good. We're seeing a little bit of a decline, and I think that's due to the weather. We just, we need to get above freezing at night in order for the spring market to get here.
It'll happen.
But we got a few things going on with interest rates and stuff like that. Still a housing shortage, even though inventory's climbing. It's still, we need to figure out how to build more entry-level housing.
Absolutely. It's challenging right now. It seems like the on-ramp to housing and the off-ramp to housing are the biggest challenge we have. You've got folks that are overhoused, but where can they go?
Correct.
And then the same thing, you've got new families, young professionals entering the market. And I remember when I bought my first house, I certainly wouldn't be able to afford some of the prices that you're seeing today.
And I agree. And I took me about 6 months to find a house, and I ended up out in Kalkaska, just because there wasn't anything that, in my opinion, was in my price range in the Traverse City area.
Yeah, I can relate. And you are seeing these towns that are just outside Traverse City. We're just growing closer and closer. I mean, when I was a kid, going to Kingsley, going to Kalkaska, that was like a day trip.
Right.
And now it's just your regular commute.
Kingsley has exploded. And I think Kalkaska is primed to be next. It is. And again, it's a 35-minute commute. It's going to be the bedroom community, and that's what's, going to be the new affordable of Traverse City. So.
Yeah. So, Alan, just like the Home Builders Association, we represent the professionals that work in our industry and then work a lot on the advocacy side. And I know that is a huge passion of yours. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for me, to protect private property rights is huge. And right now we definitely have some issues with zoning. We have lots of issues with what people believe are a short-term rental problem, which is not a short-term rental problem. It's basically just a zoning problem that we haven't fixed yet. But we do spend a lot of time on advocacy, and in order to be able to do that, you have to have good support, and teaming up with you and the HBA and some of the others in the area has been just great for me when I got here, and we're now working with some of the other housing groups trying to get some things taken care of, and hopefully we'll there's some bills that are probably going to move this week.
I hope so.
And if it does, then that should free up some rules and regs that allow us to get moving. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I love working with the realtors is the sharing of the information, because we know a lot about what can and can't be built and what that looks like. And then there's the other side of things. So it's just a matter of us all sharing that information and working towards a better solution.
Definitely. And we're starting to educate our members now, if they do find a big tract of land or something like that, to come talk to us before they just put it on the market, to see if it can be developed or there's some other things we can do with it. And And that's been real receptive.
Yes.
I was a little nervous about that, but everybody's on board to help us figure out how to get this housing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just a great note for those that are listening. If you do have a question, the Realtor Group, the Aspire North Realtor Group, has answers for you. Home Builders Association, that's why we're here. People don't always understand that, like we're obviously here serving our members, helping them make their jobs easier, keeping them as informed as possible on all the changes that are happening. But also we are there for the public.
100%. And we are going to focus way more on the public than we have in the past because that's ultimately who we serve.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for the public, and then we wouldn't be needed.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
We definitely need to focus there.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to a long partnership working alongside of you.
Good.
Thanks so much for coming in today.
You betcha. Thank you.
Speaking of this year's Parade Home, tell us a little bit about what we can expect.
Well, this year we have a cool place. It's on Lake Skegemog.
Waterfront. Amazing.
Yep, waterfront. So we tore down a small old cottage that was over there, which is a lot of what
That's a lot of
building.
what Lakefront building looks like today.
So there was an old dilapidated cottage there. We tore that down. Because that cottage was there, we were able to kind of learn about some of the site conditions and able to build systems to help remedy that. But we'll have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Actually, I'm sorry, it's 3-bath house. And then there's a detached garage there with a future apartment space above. So essentially, it's creating new life on this older lot.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because if you haven't seen the demolition of a house, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like you've got your excavator on there and it's like chomp, chomp.
Well, and that's something I think a lot of people, they envision it to be maybe a longer process than it is.
It's quick.
Modern demolition is more or less an excavator coming in. Sometimes we'll go in and we'll remove the items that are of value. Maybe we'll donate them. We'll sell them off if we can. Whatever we can do. Like, we love to try to save as much
There's a huge market for old windows.
Exactly. So sometimes we'll have cabinets, water heaters, whatever, dishwashers, whatever might be in there. We'll try to find them a home, because I hate the idea of that just going to a landfill
Exactly.
pointlessly when there's someone that could use it.
Yeah.
So we'll find the best place for those to go. But then the excavator will come in, and usually in the same shot as digging for the foundation, they'll come in, and in a day or two, they will crunch it up with the machine, and then they'll place it into dump trucks or garbage containers, and they haul it away.
And you have a blank slate.
A blank slate, and it's amazingly quick. A lot of people expect it to be a longer process than that, but it's a very quick process.
Demo. I love the demo stage. Did you run into any zoning hurdles that you needed to jump over being waterfront? Did you have to stick to a specific footprint?
Well, we always have a specific footprint that we need to stick to. You know, we had our setbacks that we needed to maintain, so we designed the home around the setbacks and the zoning rules. Everything was designed to that. And then zoning-wise, we were in Kalkaska Township, and it did actually go pretty quickly there.
That's awesome.
That was relatively smooth. Some townships can be a little bit slower.
Some can be a little more challenging.
This one was relatively easy. We did have to pull 2 permits. We had one for the detached garage and one for the garage. That was one little surprise that surprised us, but not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
So we just essentially have 2 separate permits for the 2 separate structures. That was kind of the biggest hurdle with the permitting process there.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite feature about this year's entry?
Well, this year's entry has it's a somewhat affordable home, but it has some really cool details. You know, we've got a lot of site-made beamwork around that just gives it a lot of character. So on the lower level, it's going to look like it's a beam-supported structure. So it's almost going to look like a wooden
timber framing.
like a timber frame, yeah. But in reality, it's a bunch of box beams that our carpenters have built on site, and we've stained them. So it gives it a lot of character.
Awesome.
So we allocated a fair bit of budget towards that. We're going to have some really nice metal railing that we're having custom made right now. We have a lot of built-ins. We have a built-in dining nook, so the benches are built in with storage below. We have bookshelves.
I love built-in features.
Yeah,
They
nice.
they can add so much character and then allow the homeowners to express themselves.
We're going to have a couple of detail walls, one in the lakefront study and then one in the living room, and these are going to have some hidden doors in there.
Oh, cool.
But we've got a lot of work to get done before the parade here, so we're full force. We're racing on this here.
Oh, I love it. Well, Colin, you have participated in the parade. You're one of our amazing board members. You serve on the parade committee. Tell us a little bit about, or should I say, what would you tell your fellow builders or homeowners that are considering a new build and why they should consider participating in the parade?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm a big proponent of the parade. I think it's an opportunity to truly show your work to your prospective clients. During the parade, we have a lot of people that are there specifically to look for a builder. Of course, there's plenty of people that are just there to look, but the ability to show somebody your work in person, because pictures are pictures. Like, they all
honestly,
look great.
They look the same.
Yeah, you can't tell anything from a picture. You need to be 5 foot away from something to really see the attention to detail. And that, I think, is a really important aspect. For us, we love people to come and look at things closely because that's where I think we shine. So I really love the opportunity to just get people into our houses and show them what we can do and meet them in person. And usually that's a good opportunity to start having a dialogue with them about what it is that they're wanting to do.
Yeah. And you probably hear from people, maybe not right away, but down the road, and they tell you they saw you on the parade.
I would absolutely agree with that. I rarely get somebody who comes to the parade and says, we're going to build right now. But what I get is this residual build over time, So, hey, we saw your house back in 2017, and we've been following you ever since. We'd like to build with you. Yeah. And at that point, they're pretty well committed that that's the direction they want to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the time you contribute to the HBA and helping shape the future of what we do together.
It's an honor, and it's a great mission too. The HBA puts out an immense amount of support for our industry and advocates for anything we need, So it's an honor to just be part of it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. And now, a quick moment with one of our incredible parade sponsors from Press and Feather. Hey, Chris Ostrowski, welcome back to the studio.
Hi, nice to see you.
It's always great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Super fun.
I'm so glad you're here. And we are so excited to hear about Press and Feather Building Centers.
Thank you. Yes, it's pretty cool. I've been there since October, and really neat family. It's a really neat family-ran company. Locally owned, which is great. 5 locations now in northern Michigan. And the fun part, I think, is to work for a family company that their mission and passion is to take care of the community. Yeah. And it's really cool that they want to make this every day in their mission statement, these 5 core values that they want to bring to the table, the business integrity, compassion, purpose, and then where I think the coolest part is the merit and then the accountability. They're 5 pillars of how they want us to operate every day as employees for our customers.
Yeah.
And really convincing myself I own Press and Feather, it's really easy to follow these truly simple basic steps.
Well, and I can say that that's not just a mantra that exists on a wall, that your team that you work with really shows up in that way. Reposition themselves, expanding more into these more southern markets, because it was started in Boyne City?
Petoskey. 120 years. Yeah, we've been around for 120 years.
Yeah, and it's been located in Traverse for a number of years, but you guys have been quiet.
Yeah, real quiet. A good marketing partner we need, and part of it is the HBA. Part of it, why we want to support the HBA, is for what you guys do. I just go back and do some recapping of the Parade of Homes, why we're here today.
Yeah.
Is to talk about the Parade of Homes, the builders putting their very best foot forward and their very best product for the very best community. It's amazing with great vendors. Well, you've been doing this 38 years, 39 years.
Yeah, we're closing in on 40.
Okay, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And if you go to your website, Parade of Homes, and look at your last 10 years, how well you've documented.
You can look at, I think, almost all 40 years.
I did the last 10 when I was looking a couple days ago because I knew I was coming on. And then looking at, wait a minute, these builders that win year after year after year, the time and effort that they put into this, showing the community really what's the best way to buy a new house. People ask me all the time, well, how much square foot, what's it cost per square foot to build a house? And it's like, wait a minute, that's the old question.
That is a question that is so hard to answer.
And on your website, there's a complete guide, what not to do.
Yeah, red flags especially.
Super easy questions. So why aren't more community people using the HBA? So for
Probably because they don't know that we have those resources.
Right. And that part of today is I wanted to get the word out. If you really go on the website and you really look at the people that year after year after year that are partners of the questions that you want to direct the consumer to the right builder. This costs a lot of money, a builder, to do the Parade of Home.
It does. It's not a cheap investment. And not only financially is there a price tag to it, but the amount of time and effort that goes into it. Being on site for as many hours as 4 days for the parade is one thing. The lead up to it, and just getting it done on time.
Right. That's a big pressure too, because there's so many things that go into a build being delayed. You know, we're always focused on time and under budget.
So much of it is out of your control.
And the very best plans seem to go awry with this wonderful weather, the rain, the snow.
This incredible winter we've just experienced.
All these things that hurt construction or delay construction. But having a good builder that's part of the HBA.
And a great partner in your supplier.
Right, which is fun. These guys are, it's absolutely a blast to be the small little local guy that is, you know, an $80 million company in Northern Michigan, which is great. You know, Press and Feather, we've hired 38 people in 6 months.
And you have a new building.
We just bought another lumber company up in Harbor Springs, and we just built a new building that's not open yet, 30,000 square feet, all redesigned, new parking lot, new entry, new exit, ways for people to pull in and get the product in undercover and then out. It's just a really nice, it's very thoughtful process. Again, and the Huntmans are investing into the building, into the community, into Traverse City, into our employees to hire 38 people in 6 months.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. But where that's going is how can we hire 38 people? Where's this money coming from? They see the investment. They see the return on their investment. They're younger owners, which is great. And that was part of my attraction to come work for these gifted people. Rachel's amazing. If you meet, I think you met Rachel.
I've met Rachel. There's a number of Chris's.
Oh God, there's too many Chris's, right?
And you know, one of my favorite things about growing up in this town and now living and working in this town, raising my family, is like one of your Chris's is one of my oldest and dearest friends.
Christopher, every time he says your name, you smile. So that's good.
We have so many stories, and his family and his young family. It's so awesome to now be able to work with him.
Yeah.
And I get that feeling from your team across the board.
They care, and it's weird. I was talking to Autumn.
You're on top of it.
Well, they care, and the fun part is like Autumn, when she set this up, her emails, her punctuation, how quick, how accurate, how fun, because she cares.
Yeah.
And they care, and there's a difference. If you don't care, you can't teach that.
No, you can't.
And it's from the leaders, and it comes all the way down. And Chris is the same thing. I was on vacation last week, and some stuff came in that he helped me with. And he didn't realize I wasn't on vacation because I was trying to work the whole time. I'm not a good sitter around her.
Me either.
Right? So he's like, I didn't know you were gone, but he is fun. And I told him I was coming here. And as soon as I said your name, he started smiling. So that's good news. And again, it's a good people.
Yep.
And it's good people. You know, something else I wanted to talk about before I get too sidetracked is the builder that takes the time to join the Parade of Home. What that means for what the consumer gets to see.
Yeah.
And let's start the maze backwards, start at the end, work it backwards. This beautiful home, what does it take to get this done? There's some 180 vendors that are involved with one house. And then take that to what the quality that they want to show.
All the moving parts.
How much effort that it takes to build this. And why would a builder want to come in the parade of homes when they know it's all this work and all this money?
Well, this is something we will never stop doing. In my opinion, it is the single best marketing tool for a builder, and it pays off for years and years to come.
Big time.
In fact, I've told this story before, but I was at one of our amazing local coffee shops. I was at Aroma waiting for my coffee, and these women were talking in front of me, and they were talking about construction. So of course my ears perked up. I'm leaning in. And the one woman was asking the other, like, oh, you're building your new home. How did you find your builder? I'm having a heck of a time finding a builder. And she goes, oh, we met them on the parade back in like 2018.
Yeah.
So the people that come on the parade are shopping for a builder. They're looking long term. And they remember who they met. They remember the conversation they had, and they remember what they saw.
You bet.
So in my opinion, it is the single best marketing tool that a builder can invest in. And when you look at it that way, it is not even a huge investment. The financial side should not even be an issue.
Well, some of the builders that say to me, well, I was in a parade of homes 2 years and I didn't get a new build out of it. And I'm like, well, you can't look at it that way. You can't say, well, what did I get instantly? My quick return. There's no marketing tool to instantly get a new customer.
This is the long con.
This is the very best way. And here's what Bay Area Contracting, one of my faves, okay?
They were actually talking about Bay Area, by the way.
Okay, that's funny you say that. That it makes them a better builder for the product that has to be presented in this way through the parade of homes, through the HBA.
Yeah.
This product is...
And a homeowner knows it's going to be done in time.
Right.
So that's what I mean. I would sign up to have my builder be in the parade and showcase my home for that single fact.
You know, and it's funny, if you don't do it, it's like not advertising at all. Well, what's the point in that? But the purpose of the parade of homes is to focus on a really great builder, and not only the builder and their team, but all the people that go into building the house, the electrical, plumbing, heating, cooling, all the other things, the flooring,
all
windows,
these things,
the cabinets. Good partners, good cabinets, good windows, good siding. So those vendors that install, the people that they partner with, they get to see their work as well, just not the builder. So who the builder partners with is a big deal too. So again, this final product that these people get to go around in Northern Michigan and look, you know, as a builder that's on the fence, I'd say try it for at least 3 years. Don't do it just once, flash in the pan and get out. And then once you're in though. If you go back and look at the 30 years on your website, the builders that are on your parade of homes year after year after year seem to be.
There's a reason why
they're
some
so
of these
successful.
most well-known companies participate every year as long as they've got one ready.
Yeah, and it's hard. The ready thing is the biggest problem is that, okay, you got to have it done on this time.
Yep.
Well, there's
takes a community.
Takes a lot to do that. But again, if they know it year after year after year, that gets easier.
Yeah.
The longer they get closer and the more they get involved, and maybe multiple houses, that's another nice thing too, as a builder has a couple houses.
Yep.
Which is a really nice way.
And they can show off their talents.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you and Preston Feather. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And folks, go out to Preston Feather Building Centers. It's near the ball field in Chum's Corners.
Yep.
Check out their showroom, meet the team. Chris will definitely give you a tour.
Probably too much. But I will tell you too that we're the design centers that they have specifically to come out and work. They're changing or talking about changing the name to decision centers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Come out and make a decision.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's pretty cool.
Awesome. And definitely come out and see the parade June 18th through the 21st. Tickets online at hbagta.com. And thanks so much. Joining me in the studio today is Leelanau Construction, Corey Flaska.
Howdy, howdy.
And TJ Shimek from the Mitten Group.
Howdy.
It's great to have you guys here. Two boys from the county.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Born and raised.
So tell me, you guys grew up together?
Well, we're a different age. I think I'm 2 years older. So
Yeah.
he was a sophomore when I was a senior.
Play
So,
basketball together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Leelanau County.
I think
I mean-
we both have something in common, though. We both were an actor when we were younger.
This is
actually.
true. You
Cal-
What?
Yeah.
I went to California and New York.
Yeah, I
and-
went to
Well, I knew that
California.
about
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a
from
bunch
like
of
your
movie stuff
your
out there.
first appearance on
Maybe
the
I was
parade.
TJ's inspiration since a little older.
Tell me about this acting career.
I did musicals and plays in high school and in college, and so I graduated college and I wasn't ready for the real world of work, so I packed up my truck and went to LA and did a bunch of movies like 40-Year-Old Virgin. I taught Will Ferrell how to throw the hammer and kicking and screaming.
Stop it.
A bunch of different background work. So
Oh my gosh. Well, this explains why you're so great at your videos that you do. I love following you on your social media and like, what's TJ up to next?
Yeah. Yeah, we did a whole Leelanau County series of every town in Leelanau, and those have been getting a lot of feedback. Those are my #1 videos on YouTube.
That's awesome.
When
Oh
I
my
see
gosh.
those, I think it's just an extension of our attempt in in California and New York. So I appreciate his
Well,
videos.
and I mean, everything eventually comes from the coastlines and makes it to northern Michigan. You went the other way and you brought it back.
Right.
I love that. Cool. So if folks want to come talk to you about real estate, development, or Will Ferrell, they can come see you at Corey's Parade Home.
Yeah, and how Hollywood works. We have,
Oh, that is so cool. I'm going to have to remember that. I'm just 10 million more questions. Well, let's talk about this year's entry. So it was originally built in 2020.
That's correct.
And it's been remodeled.
Yes.
Completed. And what can the folks expect to see there?
Yeah, we built that house, Leelanau Construction, in 2020. It's in a subdivision called Bay Hill. It overlooks Lake Leelanau and peaks of Lake Michigan. It's a beautiful
gorgeous
subdivision.
views.
On an old cherry orchard. Just outside of Leland, next to Lake Leelanau, quick shot drive to Sutton's Bay. M22 is right there to go to Glen Arbor. But the house is a beautiful house. In 2020, or recently when we remodeled it, we finished the basement, repainted the upstairs, did some things to the loft and finished the loft area. So it's a big house. It's 4,901 square feet.
My goodness, you could get lost in there.
Yeah, and it's got seasonal views. And from the loft, actually, it's got permanent views of Lake Leelanau and Lake Michigan.
Which is tough to accomplish, especially with the foliage.
Yeah.
The difference between winter and it's always funny to me because it's like, oh, you've got a great view in the winter. And some people that move up here, they buy their house in the winter and then the lake goes away.
The nice thing, Bay Hill is on a slant. So all the homes sort of slant towards Lake Leelanau. So you don't have to worry about view control of all the trees in the distance because just the way the development sits on the hillside is open for everybody.
Thoughtful planning.
Yeah.
That's what we like to call that.
And I got to say, driving into this subdivision, driving in and leaving, you are always guaranteed one of the most amazing views down the throat of North Lake Leelanau.
Absolutely.
So
awesome.
Whether your house can see it seasonally or not, the people who walk around the subdivision in the loop, you're always getting this unbelievable view right down the throat of North Lake Leelanau. And that's unaffected year-round.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful feature of it as well.
Yeah. That's half the reason to be here is the view. I mean, I've lived here my whole life and I still am rubbernecking when I drive around northern Michigan.
Absolutely. And you have the lot next door to the house, too,
Yeah.
which, is available with the house purchase, which is a huge feature of that property.
Key part of
investment.
privacy and not having someone build right next to you. And speaking of our California days, I mean, I named that house the California Modern. So it is a modern shed roof style home with 22-foot ceilings with a loft overlooking the living room, and the loft has views. So it is modern for northern Michigan.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've seen some of the sneak peeks and it is gorgeous and tons of space. Bedrooms. How many bedrooms?
It's 5-bedroom.
5-bedroom.
3-bath or 4?
Yeah, 4.
4.
4. And then the whole loft could be imagined in any kind of, I mean, you could put a really nice primary suite upstairs.
Yeah.
You know, tie in, like it's just a huge space that could be utilized in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
So,
Neat.
and you had a theater up there.
I did. Yeah. And just as you're saying, the best views are from the loft above the garage, which we can add a bathroom to. I've done that research, and that could be a wonderful master, just like you said.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of those secondary primary suites that are take up the whole floor. It could almost be like its own little separate apartment.
Absolutely could.
Not to mention the basement that is 1,400 square foot house in itself.
Well, I know, and you were telling me, I mean, it's no secret anyone that knows you knows you're a golfer. He's pretty good. I mean, he's real good. And you said you had a simulator down there?
I did. We had, after we poured the basement, I had my guys actually go dig out another 2.5 feet of the basement floor, and we repaved it, or concreted it, and made myself a golf hole, I guess.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Amazing.
We've since filled it in now, framed it, and recarpeted it. So not everybody, wanted a golf area.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that speaks to your customization, and obviously this isn't the only thing you guys do. You both have many irons in the fire. Let's talk a little bit about some of your other developments. Last year, you showcased your development there right in downtown Cedar.
Yeah. So we have 3 developments, maybe 4 going right now at Leelanau Construction. We have 4 remaining condos in Cedar Cove Estates.
Cedar Cove Estates.
I'm going to get these confused because they're all named really similar. Okay. So those are starting at $300,000, and they're wonderful. Right in the center of the county in Cedar. Beautiful little subdivision.
Yeah.
So 4 of those available still. And then we started our new development, Cedar Run Acres, on the corner of Tilton and Cedar Run. That's a 21-house subdivision. And we have 5 houses going there with our first one sold. So there's 4 available.
Awesome.
But those are wonderful. They're on 1-acre lots. You can have pole buildings, lots of space, super private. I like to say that's part of Leelanau in Traverse City is what it's so close to Leelanau, and you can just get to Traverse City in 7 or 8 minutes as well.
Right, you go either way.
I'm super excited about Cedar Run Acres, and I do got big news. I may have acquired phase 2 with an additional 60 houses to come to that property.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're excited about our future there for a long time to come. And then we are also finishing up the villages of M22 in Empire. We have 7 houses going there. To finish that entire subdivision. And those start at around $570, I believe, all the way to $630 for 3-car versions. And those are all available as well.
So if people are interested in learning more about that, what's the best way for them to get more information?
Yeah, I mean, TJ's a realtor. He's not on all of my listings, but he is on the Parade of Homes, and he has listed other things for me. But, just give Leelanau Construction, give me a call. My number's right on the website.
Perfect.
And we can get you connected in a house near Traverse City or Leelanau. Or right in downtown Cedar.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I love
Or call TJ. He knows where all my listings are.
He does. I believe
I
it.
brought multiple buyers to Corey's different houses and his different developments.
He
Absolutely.
can totally bring me the buyers. So call TJ and we'll work it out together.
I love the feel of that neighborhood that's right there in downtown Cedar because it's perfect for younger families, and I just think it was really well designed, and it's got that old-timey neighborhood feel. I bet that all of those neighbors are going to end up hanging out together.
Oh yeah, and the family that I brought there loved it and walked to everything. The kids could go down to the Cedar Park.
Safe.
Oh yeah,
kids can ride their bikes without tons of traffic
Cedar
running through
Fest,
there. Polka
You
Fest.
can walk to it all safely.
Stumble to it, stumble home.
And it's just getting nicer and nicer. We just planted 22 new maple trees in there.
It is a beautiful spot. I mean, it was a gorgeous field before you turned it into something pretty special.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
It's a beautiful little cove.
Yeah, it's a perfect little cove. Well, and TJ, I know you're a realtor. You're famous, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you were just famous, Traverse City famous, but you're real life famous. But you've got a lot of other stuff going on in Mitten too.
Yeah. So I have a team. Team Shimek Real Estate is my team within the Mitten Group. I have an office in Glen Arbor on Boondocks Deck. So come see me in the summer. There's not a better place to go visit a realtor.
Will I be guaranteed a seat?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. There's lots of seats in my office, and I have a hookup at the bar. I bartended there for 10 years as well. So,
sign me up.
So yeah, I know all the staff, and I coach most of the staff at Glen Lake because I coach Glen Lake boys basketball. But
awesome.
then the office right on Front Street. That's where Mitten headquarters is, and the Mitten does a lot of different things. I'm personally involved in our development in Maple City. We own 28 lots. There's 61 total lots in Maplewood Commons. We bought the remaining 28 lots, and we have 6 houses going in there right now. I'm not on the tour, but people could drive through and see what we have going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're out and about. So,
well, obviously housing is a huge issue. And what I love about this is that I'm hearing you're not just building giant custom homes. You're very versatile. There's something for everybody here.
Our goal in Maplewood Commons was, and Corey and I talk a lot about this, how can we make it the most affordable, because it still costs a lot to build, right?
Yes, it costs a lot to build.
Our goal is to build single family homes in Maple City. So many teachers that teach at Glen Lake, so many people that work in Leelanau County can't afford to live in Leelanau County.
Right.
So our goal is, our first homes were $425,000 for 1,200 square foot ranches with full basements. Our next ones, we're going to keep them right in the 5s. We don't want to go above $550.
Yeah.
So we have a good little range for, I'm not saying it's first time home buyer homes, but as affordable as we can do in the county, but still have nice homes with great finishes.
Well, I mean, you're already fighting an uphill battle because the dirt in Leelanau is so valuable, right?
Exactly.
So you start with that. And then you've got the two most expensive rooms in a home. You've got a kitchen and bathroom, and you have to have them. So it's interesting when we talk about affordable or attainable housing. It costs a lot to build. I mean, materials are expensive. We're not logistically on the way to anything, so things cost more. And the fact that we don't have the huge labor force. So there's a lot of challenges. So it's great to see companies like yours working to counteract that and still provide a beautiful home for people, because it's a great place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. Because all your homes that you started with in Cedar Cove, you were started at $300, which was a great price point.
Yeah, and the house
there was nothing at that price point in Leelanau County.
And TJ and I
will those single families went like that.
Yeah, at Cedar Cove they went fast. The attached housing is a little more difficult, but the single families.
Attached housing though really is the starter home now though. Like the fact that I was able to buy a house when I was 24, graduating from college, moving back, that doesn't happen anymore. It's not It's not as common. It's not as easy to pull that off. So it's great to have these options where it's not an apartment. You still own it. It's yours. And that's an investment, because when you're ready to off-ramp, someone will be ready to step in there.
And the price difference is unbelievable. I mean, our units in Cedar at $299, I think I just lowered a price to. The houses are 1,437 square feet, and these condos are 1,237. And we're talking about $120,000 difference in price. So I can promise you right now, those condos are a really great price for what you're getting. I mean, garage, 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So,
but you have shared foundation, shared plumbing, central plumbing, and everything, and that allows you to split the costs between the units. So that's just for those lay people out in the world that don't necessarily understand like how that saves money.
In general, I think we need to educate people on getting into a starter home again, though, in Leelanau, because it seems like people want it all right away, the land, the big house. And, you can buy a starter home early on at a young age, and in 5 years, sell it and move up. And I think we need to start educating people on that. And,
I think that my favorite joke is that MTV Cribs ruined an entire generation. It started with lifestyles of the rich and famous. And that didn't seem to affect as much as MTV Cribs. It's like, I feel like now I need to have the 3-car garage and all of the hoopla. But really, you just need a roof. You need a bathroom, kitchen, a bedroom, and a roof.
And Leelanau land almost always appreciates. So.
Oh, absolutely. So I started in 2000, March of 2000, when the world shut down as a realtor. Since that date, land has tripled in price, and homes have almost doubled. And I'm speaking Leelanau County. I work in Leelanau, Benzie, and Grand Traverse, but a lot of the business I do is in Leelanau. But it's just wild to me. People always like, should have done that.
Even at high interest rates, technically prices are lower at high interest rates. When interest rates go down, then prices go up. So. I actually really like the strategy of purchasing when the interest rates are higher, because when they go down, you can refinance. And you're getting a better price.
Well, that's good advice for everybody. And I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for sharing this property with us. And folks, if you want to learn more about the Mitten Group and Leelanau Construction, check out their websites, come out to the parade and see them at the home.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Look forward
guys.
to it.
Excellent. Thanks for
having us.